we read about Hero and Scout and Ben and Noah trying to find Jack, who's lost in the woods during the hurricane. And we found out how Hero gets ready and Scout gets ready to be a search and rescue dog. I'd like for you to read just this paragraph that you read last week. 2 hands on the book, big playground voice.
The rain was falling at a steady downpour.
Right here. We'll start here this time.
Mm-hmm. Hero moved away from Ben and sniffed at the ground. He stepped carefully around the area, his nose investigating the underbrush, and Scout trod down storm debris. Hero's ears rose, first rotating forward, then swiveling backwards. His throat splitting as his muscles tensed and reflex ready to spring into action.
So what does a dog do to get ready to find somebody?
If it was, we have to put some stuff on the dog before they come a search and rescue dog.
Okay, let's turn to the new chapter today to read. And this is a very long chapter, so we're only going to read as far as we can get, which will be most of it, but maybe not all of it. Last week when we were thinking about what you read, you wrote this: I know, big voice now.
Ben and Noah were lost in the woods.
And this is what you wondered.
That something would happen to Jack once Ben and Noah get there.
And this is what you think or predict.
Ben and Noah would be closer to Jack in the next chapter.
So today we're going to read and see if your predictions and your wonderings are answered. We're going to stop in certain places and think about what happens first, next, then, after that, and finally. Are you ready? You're going to start reading today, and I'll show you where you will stop, and then I'll share the reading. You're going to stop right here, and then I'll do where it says next. So you begin, 2 hands on the book.
Scout's high-pitched bark cut through the darkness ahead of them. Hero caught up with him and they let out a chorus of barks. Come on, Noah said. He took off running. Ben followed as quickly as he could. He stumbled, trying hard not to trip in the darkness. Water drips flew into his eyes. Jack! Noah cried out from few feet ahead. What is it? Did you find him? Ben squirted a fly of branches and wet leaves and stopped short. The two dogs had stopped next to a downed tree. Scout was jumping up and down excitedly, his tail wagging in a minute. Hero sat quietly, his front paws perfectly together, and looked at Ben, waiting for his command. Noah was on his hands and knees, inspecting something on the ground. He turned back to Ben with a worried expression on his face. Did you find Jack? Ben repeated. Noah nodded.
Let's stop right there. So tell me, what's happening first in the story today?
That every time, because it was getting dark in the wood.
But something important happened. Let's read right here.
He turned back to Ben with a worried expression on his face. Did you find Jack? We tried. No one nodded.
So what does that mean?
No. Oh yeah? What's that?
Did you find Jack? No one repeated? Noah nodded.
Yes.
Did they find him?
Yeah.
That's really important, and that was one of the things you wondered about. So let's write what happened first, and what would you say happened first in this chapter?
They found Jack in the woods.
That's a great way to begin. First, and then say the words as you write them.
They found Jack in the woods.
I like the way you remembered your period at the end of the sentence. Good thinking. This will be my turn to read, and I would like for you to think about what you hear happens next, all right? And then we're going to talk about it. Here we go. I will do the reading. Ben ran over and couldn't believe his eyes. Jack's legs were jutting out from under the long trunk of the fallen tree. His body was on the other side. He wasn't moving. Jack, Ben shouted, panic rising in his chest. Are you okay? Can you hear me? There was no response. Jack, Noah and Ben called out. Jack stirred. I'm okay, came his weak voice from the other side of the trunk. He sounded like he had just woken up. At the sound of Jack's voice, Scout went crazy. He whimpered and yipped. Hey, Scout, Jack said. Ben let out a burst of breath and a smile. A look of relief washed over Noah's face. Ben's chest tightened, his emotions a physical sensation. I can't get up, Jack croaked. Scout began digging at the ground by Jack's legs, trying to get his owner out. Noah looked up at Ben, his eyebrows raised. This isn't good, he mouthed at Ben. Ben shook his head. So, what has happened?
He got stuck under the trunk.
They found him stuck under the trunk of a
Tree.
Yeah, so let's write what happened next. Read what you're writing.
Jack was stuck under a trunk of a tree.
Let's read what we know so far about the story.
First, they found Jack in the woods. Next, Jack was stuck under a trunk of a tree.
We're going to find what happens next, or then, in the story. I'm writing then right here. But before we read that, I want to think about two tricky words that are in this part of the story. You're going to be reading a word that looks like this, debris. You say that.
Debris.
Put your finger under it. Say it again.
Debris.
Debris. Let me hear you say it.
Debris.
And what does that mean? Well, let's find out. Debris is really scattered leaves and branches. Let's read that word in the sentence.
Ben found Noah's hand and saw that the top of the trunk was resting on a pile of
Debris.
debris.
It's kind of a funny word, isn't it? It's a very grown-up word. But we know that that means the trunk was resting on.
Scattered leaves and branches.
There's another word right here, sarcasm. Can you say that?
Sarcasm.
Put your finger under it. Read the word sarcasm.
Sarcasm.
Has anyone ever said something that's kind of the opposite of what it really is? That's sarcasm. It's kind of a grown-up word for a third grader. But let's read how that word is the opposite of what he really means in this story right here.
Jack shot back. Ben was glad to hear a note of sarcasm in his friend's voice.
Well done. Now we're going to start up here and read to the bottom of the page. Your turn, 2 hands on the book.
Jack, man, can you feel your legs? Ben's voice broke underwater. He braced himself for Jack's answer. There was a long pause. Yes, I can feel them. I'm wiggling my toes. Ben looked at Jack's boots. They were moving. That's great, Ben said. Yes, Noah pumped a fist in the air. Okay, Ben said to Jack. Give us a minute while we figure out how to get this thing off you. Noah pointed to one end of a tree. Out.
Try this again. Something wasn't quite right. Begin here.
Noah pointed to one end of the tree. Check this out, he said to Ben.
Keep going.
Ben followed Noah's hand and saw that the top of the trunk was resting on a pile of debris. The pile had absorbed most of the weight when the trunk fell, saving Jack's legs from serious injury. Wow, Ben said. You are seriously lucky, man. Really? This is lucky, Jack shot back. Ben was glad to hear a note of screaming.
Let's try that again. Try this part.
Sarcasm.
Perfect.
In his voice and Fleming's voice. That meant he wasn't too bad off. The tree landed on some other stuff, so it's not all on you. Well, it kind of feels like it's all on me. So why don't you lift this thing off me already, Jack?
Okay, we're going to stop right here, and we're going to think about what we found out about Jack stuck under the trunk of a tree. What did we find out about him?
That he was lucky he wasn't fully caught under the trunk.
Okay, he was under the trunk of the tree, but could he move his legs?
Yes.
A little bit, couldn't he? So what can we say?
He was lucky that he could move his legs.
Can you write that? What will you write?
He was lucky that he could move his legs.
All right.
He was lucky that he could move his legs.
Well done. You know what I liked? I liked the way you were saying the words out loud as you were writing, and that helped you to make that better right there where it got a little tricky when you were writing. Let's read what you have so far.
First, they found Jack in the woods. Next, Jack was stuck under a trunk of a tree. Then he was lucky that he could move his legs.
Oh, that was lucky that he could move his legs. I am going to read what happens after that. Be ready to think about what's happening next. You know, we can still leave you here, right? Ben groaned. Yeah, Jack, sorry, I need to get home for dinner, Noah chimed in. But we'll come back tomorrow. Very funny, you two, Jack paused. For real, though, he said, his voice getting quiet. What are you guys doing here? Did you come out here to find me? We can talk about that on the way home, Ben said. I'm really glad you're okay. A booming crack of thunder shook the air around them. All 5 of them, human and canine, jumped at the sound of it. We need to hurry, Ben said softly. At the sound of it. We need to hurry, Ben said softly to Noah. Sounds like the storm is picking up again. Can you lift it off? Jack asked from the other side, a hint of desperation in his voice. Ben wrapped one arm around the trunk and tried to shift the weight of it a little. He couldn't. It was too heavy. Jack grunted as Ben handled the tree. Even though the full weight wasn't on Jack's legs, it still had to be pretty uncomfortable. Ben stepped over the tree trunk, careful not to bump it. Jack was lying back against a tree branch. He gave Ben a weak smile and a thumbs up. Sit tight, okay, Ben said to his friend. We're going to stop right there. And what do we know about the tree?
That he couldn't push it get off of that.
It was way too
heavy.
Yes, you were doing some good listening. What would we say after that?
Ben couldn't move the trunk of the tree because it was too heavy.
Remember to read what you write.
Ben could not move the trunk of the tree because it was too heavy.
That was a wonderful sentence. Let's read from the beginning.
First, they found Jack in the woods. Next, Jack was stuck under a trunk of a tree. Then, he was lucky that he could move his legs. After that, Ben could not move the trunk of the tree because it was too heavy.
So, we're going to stop right here and go back to what you were wondering last week. You wondered
that something would happen to Jack once Ben gets there.
Well, has something happened to them? Talk about that.
Yeah. Jack got was stuck under a trunk of a tree once they got there.
And what do you know about the trunk of the tree?
It was too heavy to move it.
Yeah, that can be very heavy, can't it? All right. And what did you think and wonder?
Ben would be closer to Jack in the next episode. I'm not doctor. Sorry.
And were Ben and Noah closer to Jack in this chapter?
Yes.
They even
Found him.
Yeah, they even found him. Just what wonderful thinking you did last time, and look at the summary of the chapter that you have read so far. I think we have time to write and to read just a little more. We'll go to this page. You can read this time.
Jack pushed himself up on the on his elbows. Looks like it. Noah, you ready? You ready? Ben asked. Yep. Noah was pointed across from Jack, laying in the mud on his back. I'll lift from this side. He exhaled slowly. Ben nodded. He squatted next to Hero and put a hand on his dog head. You just need to pull the tree trunk as hard as you can, okay? I'm right here to help you. Hero nodded Ben's his wet nose. Then wrapped his arms around the trunk. On three. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Hero tried to land forward, but the weight of the tree snapped him to a full stop. He dragged his paws into the wet dog and straightened hard against the hardness. As Ben struggled to help lift the tree, he checked the setup, making sure nothing could hurt Hero or Jack. He eyed a harness so far it was holding. No signs of tearing yet. Noah was flat in the mud, pushing the trunk from underneath. Ben could tell that the trunk had moved a little, but it wasn't enough. Come on, guys, we got this. Ben called out through gritted teeth. You okay, Jack? I'm good, Jack grunted. Ben could tell the shifting weight of the trunk was causing him some pain. Scout let an exhale bark and scattered around them. It's okay, Scout, Jack said.
You know what I liked when you were reading just now? The way you read, come on guys, we got this. It sounded like real talking. Would you like to read that again?
Come on, guys, we got this.
Keep reading.
Out through his teeth. You okay, Jack? I'm good, Jack grunted. Ben could tell the shifting weight of the trunk was causing him some pain.
And you can keep.
Scout let out some bark and scatter around them. It's okay, Scout, Jack said.
It really sounded like talking when you read the talking parts. And that's good reading. Did you know that? Yes, it's very good reading. Do we have time to write? I think we do. We're going to write what happened, not finally. We're going to put down what happened next. So, can you write that word next? And on the page that you just read, what were they trying to do?
Get and push the trunk off of Jack.
So, what will you write?
They were almost close to push the trunk off of Jack.
Excellent. Let's do that. Next, and read what you write.
They were close to push the trunk off of Jack.
So now we have a lot that we know about the chapter today. And you can think about what you have read and remember it. We'll go from the beginning to where we left off.
First, they found Jack in the woods. Next, Jack was stuck under a trunk of a tree. Then he was lucky that he could move his legs. After that, Ben could not move the trunk of the tree because it was too heavy. Next, they walked close to push the trunk off of Jack.
If you had to make a prediction as to what's going to happen by the end of the chapter, what would it be?
That they'll take the trunk of the tree off of Jack.
Oh, that would be so good. And then, what do you think will happen after that?
They would probably be able to get back to the house.
Oh, that would be good after that big storm. Let's take a look at how we can put a little happy sticker on your page for all the good reading and writing you did today. Do any of those dogs look like your dog?
There's one that I think.
Oh.
This one, I think, this one looks like Neil, but him looks like King.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another one that looks like it's fully dark.
Yeah. Would you like that sticker too on your page? Okay. Well done, Colby. Look at all the wonderful writing you've done over the weeks that we've been together. Oh, look, this is how you started out. You didn't have too much to say, and look how much you can write now. Wonderful. What do you think? You think it's good? I do too. Yeah. Okay, well done.